Why do people communicate with each other?
Can you imagine how boring the world would be if we could not communicate with each other? Passing of information through the exchange of ideas, feelings, and intentions are very important in our lives. Right from the beginning, man has passed on messages in different ways depending on the distance between the giver and receiver. Initially, only words were used to convey ideas, followed by the use of drums, smoke, signals, and noise produced by calling out in different tones. The invention of writing helped in preserving the messages, and communication became dependent on transport to some extent. Letters or written messages could be carried by hand by animals or birds, which were trained for the purpose. With the invention of the railways, airways and motor vehicles, communication became faster, so it became dependent on transport. Telecommunication, telephone, radio, television, satellite, computer, is independent of transport, but postal services still depend on transport network. Amazing fact. There are still some remote areas where the old methods like fire and smoke are still being used for communication, like in some parts of Africa. The communication system has a major role to play in the development of the economy of a country. It has brought people living in the different parts of the world closer to one another. Without visiting the country, we can learn about its climate, culture and people. Therefore, it brings about unity and social togetherness. In case of any calamity, emergency or accident, the news is flashed across the world immediately. In this way, relief and help can be sent to affected areas instantly. The means of communication can be divided into two forms. 1. Personal communication. When communication takes place between individuals through postal or telecom, it is known as personal communication. 2. Mass communication. When communication is with the masses through the radio, television, cinema, press, print media, magazines, newspapers, and satellites, it is known as mass communication. Do you know the first automatic telephone exchange was commissioned at Shimla in 1913 to 1914 with a capacity of 700 lines. Development and use of artificial satellites have changed the communication system in India. These can be put into two groups. The Indian National Satellite System, INSA, helps in telecommunication, meteorological observation and other programs. National Remote Sensing Agency, NRSA, located near Hyderabad, is responsible for sending satellites into space. They collect data and send them to the stations on the ground for a variety of uses. This electronic device plays an important role in the communication system as well in the field of education. This is one of the most popular means due to its speed, accuracy, storage capacity, and transfer of knowledge. These have become an important means of communication at the personal level. Mobile phones are easy to carry and have become the most important means for the people. Fax is also an important means of communication for sending messages speedily. It is a machine for sending and receiving the exact copies of documents by electronic scanning. Color photographs can also be sent through this machine. Let us summarize. From early days, man has been using various means to convey messages. Communication became dependent on some form of transport to some extent. The communication system has a great role to play in the development of the economy of a country. Satellites, computers, and mobiles are some modern means of communication.